You know, high achievers aren't born extraordinary. They are ordinary people who make extraordinary decisions. They think differently, they act differently, and most importantly, they believe differently. So let me tell you this, success isn't about luck. It isn't about being the smartest or the most talented in the room. It's about the mindset you carry every single day. High achievers don't wait for opportunities, they create them. They don't let fear stop them. They use it as fuel. They don't wait for permission to shine. They just do. So if you want to rise, if you want to break your own limits, you need to start thinking like the people who've already climbed higher than you can see. Their mindset is the foundation of their success, and today I want you to step into that mindset. The truth is, the way you look at the world shapes everything you do. High achievers have this incredible ability to see possibility where most people only see problems. They don't get stuck in the trap of it's too hard or it's impossible. Instead, their first instinct is to ask, how can this work? What can I do with what I have? That simple shift in perspective changes everything. Most people stop at the first obstacle. They see a roadblock and call it the end. High achievers, though, see the same roadblock and think, there must be another way around it. Where someone else sees a closed door, they're already looking for the window. And if there's no window, they'll build one. This is what makes them different. They don't allow the situation to define their limits. They allow their mindset to expand their possibilities. Think about it. Every breakthrough you've ever admired started with someone refusing to accept no as the final answer. They didn't wait for the perfect conditions. They didn't wait for someone else to fix the problem. They dared to believe that there was a way forward even when no one else could see it. That's the mindset that turns problems into possibilities. When others complain, high achievers create. When others blame, they take responsibility. They don't waste energy on what they can't control. Instead, they focus fiercely on what they can control. Their thoughts, their actions, their response to the challenge, and because of that, they're always one step ahead. You see, the average mind is wired to find excuses. It looks for reasons to stay comfortable. It says, this is too risky, this is too much work, this is too uncertain. But the mindset of a high achiever looks at the exact same situation and says, what if this works? What if this is the opportunity I've been waiting for? What if I'm capable of more than I realize? That one question, what if it works, is what pushes them to take the first step when everyone else is still standing still. And it's not that they're blind to reality. They see the risks. They see the difficulty. They know the odds, but they also know that problems are simply opportunities dressed in disguise. They know that inside every obstacle is a lesson, a chance to grow, a hidden door leading to something greater. So they don't fear problems, they welcome them as teachers. This way of thinking makes them unstoppable, because no matter what life throws at them, they find a way to turn it into something meaningful. They treat challenges as fuel for creativity. They adapt, they innovate, they rise, and over time, this ability to see possibilities where others see problems becomes their greatest advantage. And maybe that's the shift you need to make right now. Stop asking, why me? Why is this so hard? And start asking, what can I learn from this? What's the opportunity here? How can I turn this into something better? Because the moment you start seeing possibilities instead of problems, your entire world changes. You stop feeling powerless, you stop waiting, and you start creating. That is the first key to the mindset of high achievers, and it is the foundation for everything else they do. And once you start seeing possibilities where others see problems, there's another defining trait that sets high achievers apart. They take action before they feel ready. They don't wait for the perfect plan. They don't sit around waiting for the stars to align. They understand that waiting for the right moment is just another form of fear disguised as logic. Most people overthink. They analyze every detail, looking for guarantees before they move. But high achievers know that certainty doesn't come before action. It comes after. They know you can plan all you want, but the real clarity, the real learning, only happens when you step into the arena and start doing. Because here's the truth, you'll never feel 100% ready. There will always be doubts, always be unknowns, always be something you think you should know before you start. But high achievers don't let that stop them. They move anyway. They trust that they'll figure it out along the way. They trust themselves more than they trust their fears. And yes, sometimes they fail. Sometimes the plan doesn't work. But here's the difference. They learn from those failures and move faster because of them. While others are still sitting on the sidelines waiting for confidence, they're already gaining experience. They're already adjusting, already growing. That's why they accelerate so much faster than everyone else. Think about it. The first step is always the hardest because it feels uncertain. But the moment you take it, you learn something new. That new information makes the next step easier. The more you move, the clearer the path becomes. High achievers understand this, so they don't get stuck waiting for a perfect map. They just start walking, and because of that, they reach the destination while others are still debating whether to leave. It's not about being reckless. It's about trusting that action creates momentum. It's about realizing that the cost of inaction is far greater than the cost of making a few mistakes, because you can always recover from a mistake. But you can't recover wasted time, and this is where most people fall behind. They let fear of not being ready hold them back. They say, I'll start when I know more. I'll try when I'm better prepared. But here's the harsh reality. You won't magically become ready by waiting. You become ready by starting. You build the skills, the confidence, the experience through movement, not hesitation. So if you want to think like a high achiever, you have to break that habit of waiting for permission, waiting for certainty, waiting for some magical moment when everything feels safe. You have to leap even with the fear, even with the doubts, because action is what kills fear. Action is what builds belief. And once you embrace this, you'll realize something powerful, that you are far more capable than you thought, that you don't need to have it all figured out to begin. You just need the courage to begin, and that courage, that willingness to take the first step before you feel ready, is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. And once they take action, they embrace something most people run from: failure. High achievers don't see failure as an ending. They see it as part of the process. They understand that every success story is built on a foundation of lessons learned the hard way. While the average person treats failure like proof they're not good enough, high achievers treat it like feedback, like a guide pointing them toward a better way. Think about how most people respond when things go wrong. They retreat. They say, maybe this isn't for me, maybe I'm not cut out for it. But high achievers ask different questions. They ask, what went wrong? What can I do better next time? What is this teaching me? They don't attach failure to their identity. They see it as a single event, not a definition of who they are. That's why they fail faster and recover faster. They know that failure isn't something to fear, it's something to use. It sharpens them, it strengthens them, it teaches them things success never could. And the more they fail, the more resilient they become, because here's the truth. No one escapes failure. Even the greatest achievers in history stumbled. They were rejected, doubted, misunderstood. But they didn't let those moments define them. They kept moving. They kept learning. They treated every setback as a stepping stone, every no as a redirection towards something better. And this is where the mindset shift really matters. When you stop fearing failure, you stop playing small. You stop holding back. You stop limiting yourself to only what feels safe. You start taking risks. You start experimenting. You start reaching for things that actually stretch you. And that's when growth happens. That's when breakthroughs happen. It's not about loving failure. No one enjoys falling short. But it's about respecting what failure gives you: wisdom, humility, strength, clarity. And knowing that every time you get back up, you're a little stronger than you were before. Most people never realize that failure and success are not opposites, they are partners. Failure is the teacher that prepares you for success. High achievers don't get discouraged when they stumble, they get curious, they ask, what can I improve? And then they try again, but better. That's why over time they always outgrow everyone who let failure stop them. So don't let the fear of falling keep you from climbing. Don't let one mistake convince you that the journey isn't worth it. Every step, even the ones that don't work out, is shaping you into the person who can handle the success you're chasing. Because in the end, failure isn't the opposite of achievement. It's the price of admission, and high achievers are willing to pay that price over and over until they win. But even with the courage to act and the strength to embrace failure, there's another truth high achievers live by. They don't rely on motivation, they master self-discipline. Motivation is fleeting. It's like a spark, bright for a moment, then gone. High achievers know they can't build their dreams on fleeting feelings. They build them on habits, on routines, on the commitment to show up even when they don't feel like it. Most people wait to feel ready. They wait for the mood, the rush of excitement, the perfect wave of inspiration. But the problem with waiting for motivation is simple. It doesn't always come, and on the days it doesn't, most people quit. But high achievers, they show up anyway. They don't ask, "Do I feel like it today?" They ask, "What needs to be done today?" And then they do it. It's not because they're superhuman, it's because they understand the power of consistency. They know that small daily actions repeated over time build unstoppable momentum. They know that one workout doesn't make you strong, but 100 do. One practice doesn't make you a master, but years of practice do. They trust the process, even when the results aren't immediate. Discipline is freedom. It frees you from the trap of waiting for the perfect moment. It frees you from the roller coaster of your emotions. It frees you from the regret of procrastination, and it gives you something far more powerful than motivation: momentum. Once you build momentum, it carries you forward even on the hardest days. High achievers don't think of discipline as a punishment. They see it as self-respect. It's proof that they are in control of their actions, not their excuses, and the more disciplined they become, the more confident they feel, because they can trust themselves. They know that no matter what, they'll show up, and when you can trust yourself to show up, you become unstoppable. And here's the beautiful part. Discipline doesn't have to mean giant sacrifices. It starts small. It starts with choosing to follow through on the promises you make to yourself. It starts with doing what you said you'd do, even if no one's watching. It starts with one good decision that leads to another. And before you know it, discipline becomes part of who you are. That's why high achievers seem so consistent. They've trained their mind to value the long-term rewards over the short-term discomfort. They know that the pain of discipline is temporary, but the regret of inaction lasts forever. So they choose the hard now to avoid the harder later. So if you want to step into their mindset, stop waiting to feel like it. Stop waiting for motivation to knock on your door. Start showing up, even in the smallest ways. Because discipline doesn't just build habits, it builds the version of you capable of reaching everything you've ever dreamed of. And once you learn to show up no matter what, you'll realize you don't need motivation to change your life. You just need the decision to keep going. But even with discipline and consistency, there's another secret high achievers guard closely. They protect their energy by choosing who and what they surround themselves with. They know that no one achieves greatness in isolation, but they also know that the wrong environment can kill even the strongest ambitions, so they're intentional about the people they allow into their space. Most people don't realize how deeply influenced they are by their surroundings. Sit with complainers long enough and you'll start complaining. Spend time with people who doubt everything, and soon you'll doubt yourself. But high achievers refuse to be pulled into that cycle. They seek out growth-minded people, those who inspire them, challenge them, and push them higher. They know they are the average of the 5 people they spend the most time with, so they choose those 5 wisely. They also curate their environment beyond just people. They protect their mental space from constant negativity. They feed their mind with books, ideas, and conversations that expand their vision instead of shrinking it. They avoid gossip and distractions that add no value. They create spaces that make it easier to stay focused, easier to stay disciplined, easier to keep moving toward their goals. This isn't about arrogance. It's about alignment. High achievers understand that you can't plant seeds of ambition in toxic soil and expect them to grow. They know that to keep their mindset strong, they have to nurture it, surround it with positivity, with excellence, with energy that lifts them instead of draining them. And this applies to how they handle doubt too. They don't seek validation from everyone. They don't expect everyone to understand their vision. They're okay with being misunderstood because they know not everyone can see what they're building. Instead, they lean on the right voices, the mentors who have walked the path, the peers who share the same fire, the rare people who remind them what's possible. And here's something powerful. By surrounding themselves with growth, they also elevate others. High achievers don't just take energy, they give it. They become the person who inspires, who uplifts, who challenges their circle to dream bigger. They understand that real success isn't just about reaching the top alone. It's about creating an environment where more people can rise with you. So if you want to shift your mindset, look around you. Who are you listening to? Who are you spending your time with? What are you feeding your mind every day? Because whether you realize it or not, all of it shapes you. If you want to think like a high achiever, you have to surround yourself with the kind of energy that fuels your growth, not your fears. And when you do, something amazing happens. You start believing in more because you're constantly reminded it's possible. And that belief is the spark that makes everything else you're doing even more powerful. And finally, there's one more mindset shift that ties all of this together. High achievers think long term but act in the short term. They have a big, bold vision for their future, yes, but they don't get lost in the enormity of it. They know that big dreams aren't built in one giant leap. They're built in small, deliberate steps taken day after day. Most people want instant results. They want success tomorrow, recognition today, and rewards without the patience to wait. But high achievers understand the compounding effect of time. They know that today's effort might not show tomorrow, but it will show 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now. They trust that the work they put in now is building something invisible that will eventually become undeniable. They hold the long-term vision in their heart like a compass, but they focus on what they can do today to get closer. They don't obsess over how far they still have to go. They don't waste energy feeling overwhelmed by the entire journey. Instead, they ask themselves, what's the next best step I can take right now? And then they take it. This mindset keeps them grounded. It keeps them from burning out chasing quick wins. It keeps them from giving up when results are slow. They know that every meaningful achievement is a marathon, not a sprint. They accept that patience is part of the price, and because of that, they stay in the game long enough to win it. And here's the secret: when you combine long-term vision with short-term action, you build unstoppable momentum. You stop getting distracted by shiny things that don't align with your future. You stop quitting just because progress feels slow. You stop needing everything right now because you trust yourself to keep building brick by brick. High achievers are dreamers, yes, but they are also doers. They dream of the mountaintop, but they know they can only climb it one step at a time, and that's what makes their mindset so powerful. They never lose sight of where they're going, but they never underestimate the power of what they can do right here, right now. So if you want to think like them, hold on to your big vision, see it clearly, feel it deeply, but then bring yourself back to this moment and ask, what can I do today that my future self will thank me for? Because that's how the impossible slowly becomes possible. And when you start thinking long-term but acting short-term, you stop chasing time. You start creating it. You stop wishing for the life you want and start building it, quietly, patiently, relentlessly, and that is the final thread of the mindset that high achievers live by. So when you look closely, you'll see that the mindset of high achievers isn't built on one magical trait or a single defining moment. It's a collection of deliberate choices repeated over and over until they become who they are. They choose to see possibility instead of problems. They choose to take action even when they feel uncertain. They choose to embrace failure instead of running from it. They choose discipline over fleeting motivation. They choose to protect their energy and surround themselves with growth, and they choose to dream big while still acting small, trusting the power of time and consistency. It's not luck, it's not talent. It's mindset, and mindset is a choice, and this is the truth most people don't want to hear. High achievers aren't superhuman. They feel fear, they doubt themselves, they have bad days like anyone else. But the difference is, they don't let those moments define them. They don't let fear make their decisions. They don't let doubt stop their actions. They don't let one bad day turn into a bad life. Instead, they lean on their mindset to keep moving, even when it's hard, even when it feels thankless, even when no one is watching. That's what separates those who dream from those who achieve. When you understand this, you realize that nothing is really stopping you except the limb you've placed on yourself. You don't need to have it all figured out today. You don't need to transform overnight. You don't need to wait for someone to give you permission. You only need to take one small step, then another, then another. That's how high achievers build their extraordinary lives, not through sudden miracles, but through thousands of small, intentional choices that compound over time. So the question is, what will you choose? Will you choose to stay in the same patterns, waiting for the perfect moment that never comes? Or will you choose to shift your mindset today? Will you choose to see opportunity where others see limitation? Will you choose to take action, embrace the lessons of failure, stay disciplined, protect your energy, and honor the long game? Because every great story begins with that one decision, to stop waiting and start becoming. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to be extraordinary to start. You just have to start. One small step, one new thought, one better choice. That's all it takes to begin rewiring your life. Because in the end, the mindset of high achievers isn't about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than the person you were yesterday. So start today, start now, and step into the version of yourself who doesn't just dream of greatness, but becomes it. Thank you for sharing this moment with me, for opening your mind to new possibilities, and for giving yourself the chance to hear what your future self has been waiting to tell you. Remember, the mindset of high achievers isn't reserved for a chosen few. It's available to anyone willing to think differently, act boldly, and believe in the power of small, consistent steps. So as you walk away today, carry this with you. You are not limited by where you are right now. You are only limited by how you choose to think and what you choose to do next. Change your mindset, and you change your entire future. I believe in your ability to rise, to grow, and to create the life you deserve. Don't wait for the perfect time, because the perfect time is this moment, right now. Thank you once again for your time, your energy, and your belief in becoming more than you were yesterday. Keep going. Keep growing, and keep becoming the person you know you're meant to be. Goodbye for now, and until we meet again, keep choosing the mindset that makes anything possible.